So the first thing I want to say thank you to Kamika and to the Boss Network. This has been an amazing year for me, being connected with the Boss Network. Number one, I've had the opportunity to just talk and connect with Kamika and watch her and just learn from her. And it has just been amazing to see how she works, but also to get feedback from her and just to get that input. And the other piece of it is amazing opportunities have been coming my way as a result of being connected with Boss. Number one, and she's already mentioned, writing for Black Enterprise, which is huge. The next thing was being a part of the Sage Summit, so speaking at the Sage Summit here in Chicago. So this is my second time in Chicago in a year because of my connection with Boss. And then I also spoke as a result of the connection with Boss for the Uprising Stars Gala, which was also a very nice organization with which to be connected. So those are the things, and I'm saying that because I want you to understand the power and the value of Boss. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about myself before I get started. Again, my name is Kimberly A. Ferguson. I am a learning and development consultant. What I do is I go out to different organizations through my company. My company is Ferg Training. And I go out to different organizations and provide workshops to help the employees get better at what they do. So I do things like communication skills, leadership development, things like that. I'm also the host of Strategic Minds. It's the Strategic Mind Show, strategicminds.tv, which broadcasts on WBTVN, Roku, Chromecast. So if you get the opportunity, look it up, the Strategic Mind Show. And I'm the author of Marketing You, Be Strategic, which I'm really excited to say this week hit 2 Amazon.com bestsellers list here in the United States, and right as I was boarding the plane, I got a text that it hit a best-selling list in Canada. So that was pretty exciting. So all of these wonderful things are happening this year, and one of the things that keeps coming up when I'm talking to my clients, when I'm talking to folks, is this question: what's motivating you? What's motivating you? What's driving you? I did a workshop about a year ago on Drive for a group of millennials for Prism International, which is an organization that does retail sales, maintenance. They had a big conference, and I spoke to their millennials on Drive. And after that, I was asked to speak to another group on Drive. And I came up with this acronym that I'm going to share a little bit later to give you some steps to kind of sustain that drive and push. But Kamika mentioned that our topic is what's driving you when passion is not enough. You see, a lot of my clients have been telling me, have been sharing with me, all these things that they're driven to do, that they're so passionate about. I'm passionate about writing my book. It's keeping me up at night. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about launching my business. Or I've started my business. I'm chasing this dream, but nothing's happening. I'm passionate about it, but nothing's happening. And one of the things I tell them is, passion is not enough. And when I say that, they say, well, what do you mean? And the reality is, and I think about my own experience, I worked, one of the things I didn't mention, I have more than 18 years of professional experience. I worked in corporate for 9 years. I worked for a financial publishing company, moved on to teach. I'm a certified teacher of English and internet and online technology. I taught at an alternative high school. It was something that I wanted to do. The whole time I was in corporate, I was passionate about teaching. I wanted to teach. I wanted to do something to make a difference. I wanted to help people get better at what they did. So I left corporate, following my passion, and got in that classroom with kids who were removed from a traditional school for one reason or another. You know what I mean? And I realized very quickly that passion was I needed a plan. I needed to be able, in order to be successful there, and that's the thing, like a lot of the other influencers mentioned, kind of being an overachiever, I wanted to make sure I did a good job. So now I'm in this setting after leaving corporate, and I'm smaller than most of those students. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out how to be effective. So coming up with a plan of action and implementing it. Then years later, the first time I left corporate to say, you know what? I'm going to launch my business. See, I started working in corporate again. I said, I'm going to leave. I'm going to start my business. I left. And then I realized again, passion was not enough, because see, that money wasn't coming the way that I thought it would. I think I thought people were going to just fire me because I quit my job. And what I had to realize very quickly was that, again, the lesson that I should have learned the first time around was I needed a plan. I needed a plan, and I needed a plan implemented very quickly. So a couple of things I wanted to share with you. Number one, when I say passion is not enough, and people say, okay, well, what do I do? The first thing that I ask people to do, and this is based on some concepts that are in my book, but define success. What does success look like for you? I'm not saying, because the reality is, let me back up. When I ask people to define success when I'm in workshops, they'll say a big house on a hill with a white picket fence and 2.333 kids. So they have that American dream definition of what success looks like. What I'm asking you to do is define success for you. What does it look like? And what I ask you to do is look at the different factors. Happiness. What does it look like in terms of your family? What does it look like in terms of work-life compatibility? You notice I didn't say balance, but work-life compatibility. How can I make my work and my professional life, my personal life, work together for me, in harmony for me? So thinking about all those pieces and define success in that way. The next thing that I ask people to do is self-assess. I am big on self-assessment. Taking time to be honest with yourself and doing a real assessment of who you are. What are your strengths? And let me say this. Do a gap analysis. I heard a couple of folks kind of hinting at this before. But think about where you are right now, where you would like to be, and what lies in the gap. But don't just focus on what lies in the gap. It's time to make a plan. Okay, this is what lies in the gap. I want to be here, but I need A, B, and C to get there. Then what's your plan to start working on that? The other tool that I use when I talk about self-assessment is an acronym that I use with some of my clients called SCOPE. And I'm going to run that down for you very quickly. So when you're self-assessing, these are the things I want you to think about. When you go home tonight and you start self-assessing, number one, think about your strengths. Yes, I want you to focus on your strengths. What are you good at? What are some things that you do well? Things that you shine in? What's your differentiator? So what are your strengths? Then the next thing I want you to think about are your challenges. So the C is for challenges. And I'm not just talking about those challenges where sometimes we say, oh, my challenge is the other person. I'm not doing a good job on my job because my boss doesn't like me and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that. What are your challenges? Think about your internal challenges. What's getting in the way of you reaching whatever your goals might be? The O is for opportunities for growth. When I'm talking about opportunities for growth, I'm going to give you an example. I'm working with a woman right now who is looking to move on from the job that she's in, but she's not quite ready for a number of reasons. And we went through this acronym, and I said, how are you taking advantage of opportunities on the job? She wasn't. I said, even if you don't like where you are, there are opportunities for growth and development right where you are. Take advantage of those opportunities. I've been in places where I've been absolutely unhappy, but the reality was there was a space for me there to learn, to grow, to pull information, to get what I needed, and just move on. So I encourage you, even if you are in a place that you feel unhappy, you feel stuck, take advantage of the opportunities that are afforded you. And think about the skills that you're developing in that space that are transferable. So think about the skills that you're getting right there that you can transfer to your business, to your dream, to your passion, or to that next job. But the reality for you and the reality for me was being able to recognize what those opportunities for growth look like. The P is for process. How are you currently doing what you do? That's it. I just asked them, how are you doing what you do? What does your time management look like? How are you prioritizing? Looking at all those pieces. And then the E in that acronym is for expand. So you look at your strengths, your challenges, your opportunities for growth, and then how you're doing what you do, and how can you expand that and get better. So when we self-assess at the end of that, what I would like people to walk away with is not only an assessment of who they are, but also a plan to get better. So let me fast forward a little bit and talk about drive, because I know my time's going to be running out soon. So when we talk about drive, the one thing that I want you to think about and really focus on is the fact, again, drive is a differentiator. It's that thing that sets you apart. It's that thing when I look at folks in the workplace, when I look at folks that I'm focusing on for professional development, I see that drive. I can tell who's driven. I can tell who's pushing and moving towards whatever that goal is. It's that thing that steadily moves us towards our goal. So what I did was I came up with an acronym to help people on a daily basis, things that we can think about to get better at what we do on our own. Okay? So the D is for do it. Just do it. Take action. Sometimes we talk about that thing. I know those people that have the I'm about to. I'm about to do this, and I'm about to go back to school, and I'm about to start my business. Stop saying what you're about to do and do it. Start taking the steps towards it. So in the DRIVE acronym, D is for do it. The R is for risk failure. Now, here's the thing about risk and failure. I'm talking about a calculated risk. I'm not talking about just taking a risk to say you did it. Oh, I quit my job yesterday. Okay, that's not a calculated risk unless you have a plan in place. Take it from me. So risk failure, but make sure it makes sense for you at that time. And also when I talk about risk and failure, one of the things I often say is that every no, because sometimes we don't risk failure because we're afraid of that no, or we're afraid of that door closing. But every no gets us one step closer to yes. Every failure gets us one step closer to success if we learn from it. So doors were closed. When I first launched my business, one of the first things I did, I went after this. I saw an opportunity and I went after it. It was an organization. They were looking for a speaker for their event. And I did a video proposal. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't the best thing out there. I did this video proposal and they responded right away. I was shortlisted. I was a group of 5 people that they were going to interview for this opportunity. First question they asked me was, what's the name of your book? I didn't have a book. The next question they asked me was about assessments, about personality assessments that I had experience doing, but I wasn't certified to do. So, and that was something I was working on. That was something I was about to do, but I hadn't quite done it. So the reality for me was that door closed, but it was my fault. It was something that I could do in order to get that door open. So what I did was during the course of that year, I got that the Myers-Briggs type indicator certification so I could do the personality assessments. I didn't just do it for that client. I did it because in my business it's something that I needed to do. But I was writing a book. I was working on that book. I finished the book, did another video proposal and sent it to the CEO of that company and said, hey, remember me? I'm the one. And I went through the whole thing. They hired me. They hired me to speak to their team, and then they referred me out. The organization I was telling you about before that I did the national convention for, they referred me out to their national convention. So it was a door closing that I was able to open or reopen because I learned from it. So R is for risk failure. The I is for invest in you. So you've heard all of the other influencers thus far talking about investing in yourself. This year was, all along, because I'm in learning and development, I make sure I'm sitting in professional development. I make sure I'm learning throughout the course of the year. I have to in order to stay relevant. But this year, being a part of Boss and investing in myself this way was one of the best things that I could have done. So invest in yourself. Find a way to invest in yourself. I'm not just saying invest in yourself by jumping on any coaching program and every coaching program that comes along. I'm saying pick up a book, learn. Ask other people. Investing in yourself isn't just about throwing money out there. It's also about connecting. You've heard already, I'm not going to stay on the power of networking, but the power of networking this year alone for me, just tapping into the power of social media has been huge. It has been huge. Just using LinkedIn. I'm investing time just to reach out to folks on LinkedIn, and it has proved to be fruitful. So invest in you. The V is for vision cast. Vision cast over your life. Now, what am I talking about with vision cast? You hear pastors saying vision cast. You hear CEOs talking about vision casting. Vision casting, very simply put, is communicating in a very big way your definition or what future success will look like for you. So vision cast over your life. What will success look like for you? Define it and make sure that you're starting to work toward that plan, whatever it is. And when we talk about planning, because I keep mentioning planning, make sure your planning is smart. Make sure you're setting specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound goals for yourself. Make sure you're doing that at every turn. Make sure they're measurable. How will you know that you've attained the goal? Very, very, very important. And then finally, E is for excel. Do everything that you do in excellence. And the reason I stress that so much is because being consistent in excellence makes sure that people come back to you. So people will return. You get those return clients because they know when they come to you, what you do, you're going to do it in excellence. You're going to give your very best. So when we talk about drive, just remember that drive is that differentiator. So just very quickly to tell you how you can get in contact with me. Again, my name is Kimberly A. Ferguson. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just by searching for K-Ferg Speaks. That's K-F-E-R-G Speaks. You can also email me at info@kfergspeaks. And again, please be sure to watch Strategic Minds. It's an opportunity for you to learn more and invest in yourself, because I interview some amazing people who share amazing tips. Strategicminds.tv. All right, thank you.